When I'm thinking about a pre-shot routine, it doesn't only start at the golf ball. It's something that I'm thinking about walking up to the ball. I'm trying to get into a nice flow state, some mindset that I can feel like I'm going to execute and think clearly. Chatting to my caddy, chatting to friends between shots is huge for that. Relaxes you, it gets you calm. But once I get to the ball, number one thing I'm going to do is pull out my yardage book. That has all my distances, it has everything ready. Another tip is to get your glove on your hand before you even do that. That'll save you 3 to 5 seconds before you've got to the ball. We have monitors on the course, rules officials that give us penalties if we slow, so find a way to condense your routines and make sure that they're efficient. I'm gonna pull out a yardage book, I'll pace a distance off to a sprinkler or a yardage marker and say to my caddy, that's 5 or 7 yards difference from where we are versus that point. I'm gonna write it down. We'll have a pin sheet that'll say it's 17 on the green and 3 from the left. We've got 135 to the front, he agrees, 135. Gonna add those two together, 135 and 17 is 152. We agree on that 152 mark. Now we gotta decide, are we actually playing for the pin? Sometimes there's water behind the hole, there's a bunker, there's elements in there that we wanna avoid. There's many different ways to decide if you wanna shy away from a pin or be aggressive. I'm typically gonna have a system that's standard. I don't wanna use water or bunker to ship me too far from the pin, and I don't wanna be too aggressive in scenarios, and that's what I agree on with my caddy. Once we agree on the landing spot, this might be short of the hole in this instance. 148, 149, 3 or 4 short of the hole, because the ball's gonna bounce and roll to the hole. We're gonna be very specific when it comes to this. So we agree, 148 pitch, we're good with that. Now, factors, the lie, the wind, how is this gonna influence the shot? If it's a hard lie, hard pan lie, lots of rough behind the ball, totally different shots. We've agreed 148, now we realize, oh, we're in the rough. There's a lot of grass between the club face and the ball. That might be a flyer, it's gonna shoot, it's gonna jump, and it's not gonna have much spin. We realize, hang on, 148 is not enough for that ball to bounce and roll to the hole. Now we're gonna come back to 145. We've decided that. Now 145, okay, wind is down, it's flying a lot. We might only want to swing a 130 yard shot in controlled environments. So pitching wedge, that's my 135 club. I'm gonna take 5 yards off my 135. We've agreed on that. All this has taken maybe a minute for me to explain, but we've done this in about 10, 12 seconds typically. So 130 shot, cool. I'm gonna pull my pitching wedge out, put my yardage book away. Once we've agreed on that, the caddy is pretty much out of the scenario. I've taken numbers out of it. Right now, I'm just trying to visualize the shot. I'm trying to see the shape, I'm trying to see the flight, and inside I'm trying to calm myself down while I do that. So I'm overplaying a shot 3 or 4 times, seeing that ball fly towards the target before I've even taken a practice swing. And then I'll get behind it, get my body moving, maybe have a little swing thought, whether it's takeaway outside, inside, make sure my grip pressure is correct, whatever you're focusing on, have one of those in your pre-shot routine. And then once that image is clear in my head, I'm gonna cross the line. It's a visual thing that I see. I basically have a line in front of me. As soon as I've done all that analytical stuff, I cross this line into the golf ball. Here, I'm just gonna be creative and feel-based and find a way to execute the shot such that it flies to the image in my head and it rolls up next to that pin. Over the ball, you don't want to have any thoughts. You want to be target focused. So for me, I pick an intermediate target. I see the pin or whatever my target is away from the pin. I'll draw a straight line, pick something 6 to 8 inches in front of the ball, be it a leaf, a little increased, color change in the grass, and I'll square my club face up to that. Once that is square, I'm going to pick my head up and I'm going to use that visual element to set my body. I let my body sort of gravitate to the target, feel where I feel comfortable. And once that's ready, there's not much to think about. I'm simply going to take the club away and try and execute that shot. Whatever happens out there is then out of your control beyond that. Many people harp on a pre-shot routine and how important it is. I don't think you can harp on it enough. It's the thing that's gonna set you on course, that's gonna give you the best opportunity to hit a good shot. And if you don't have one and you're just sort of walking into the shot and gonna hit it, you're definitely setting up for failure. For me, the importance of it, it sets the tone, it sets a cadence, it sets a rhythm between you and the caddy and the shot you're gonna hit. It's key to make that concise, to make sure it's compact. The best players in the world don't take a lot of time. You may seem like on TV that they take forever. Studies have shown that you're going to execute way better if you have clear decision making, you do it quickly, concisely, and you don't let clutter get into your head. So having that routine be concise and clear is huge. And you know what? Just figure out a way that works for you. Some people take a lot of time, some people take less time. I encourage less time, but it's a huge element to hitting a good shot, to have that routine down, consistent and easy to do on the course. When you're stressed, when you're under pressure, it's going to be hard to replicate that, but if you've worked on it, it's a very clear skill that helps people achieve. When you guys are trying to figure out the elements of hitting a shot, be it the lie, the rough, the wind, it takes experience to know how that's going to affect the shot. For me, I trust the weather forecast. If you're playing in tree-lined areas or coastal areas, it's very difficult to look up and see the wind or know where it is. Throwing grass might help, but if you throw grass right here, the golf ball is going to be there for a millisecond. So what's the point of knowing what the wind's going to do here? I trust the forecast. I write it down in my yardage book. If it's northeast at 8 miles an hour, gusting to 12, I know that 12 is the most it's going to be, and it's more than likely going to be out the northeast. Some random situations do occur when you have have winds and alleys, and Amen Corner, the Masters is very tricky there because of trees. But if you just think about it and look at it, some sort of memory of a previous round there might help you. But just knowing and feeling and looking at some things might help. But in the end, trust the northeast direction. The forecast you have is always going to be the best one to go with.